Greetings. So I got a story for you that's going to lead me to a point later on. So about a week and a half ago, my wife finally came home. She'd been in San Antonio for 8 months working. And so, eventually you got to come home. So she came home, and the following Monday, we went to Sears and we bought a refrigerator. I needed to get one probably for at least 7 or 8 months. But during the winter, everything cooled down and the refrigerator worked, but as it was starting to get warm around here, it was starting to fail, so she came home at the right time. And probably saved my life because she picked a refrigerator that I didn't even think that she liked. It turned out she did like this refrigerator. I didn't really like it, but I've gotten used to it now. But that's not the story. So we go on Monday, and they say, well, we can deliver it on Wednesday. So we're thinking, okay, this is a pretty good deal. So then my wife says, well, can we have the Verizon people come on Wednesday as well to take care of that beeping that's going on in the garage? And the beeping is basically there's a battery backup of some kind for Verizon Fios. And they put it in my garage, and they put it kind of high so that I can touch it, but I can't open it. And, it's just way too high for me, and I don't have a ladder. So I said, well, sure. I said my issue had been that Verizon, unlike Time Warner, and it's going to sound like I'm beating up on Verizon again, and I am, and I'm going to link to a video that I actually did on my other channel last year where I really beat up on them. And, I don't know how they keep ranking higher than Time Warner or anybody else in customer satisfaction, and you're going to see why I question that. Anyhow, when I had called earlier this year to ask about it, they said, well, we can only give you a 4-hour window. I said, well, 4 hours, I don't, have time to basically sit here for 4 hours, so I need to put it off. So now we're going to do this because my wife is home. Both of us combined could pretty much sit for, so many hours. We knew that these people would be coming sometime in the afternoon. So she said, let's do this. Okay. So I call Verizon to try to get someone out. And the guy says, well, we can have someone there tomorrow. And like I said, we bought it on a Monday, so they were talking about coming on a Tuesday. They said, no, Tuesday won't work. We're committed to other things, so we need it on Wednesday. So the guy says, okay, we can do it Wednesday, but our window is 9 to 4. I said, why is the window 9 to 4? He said, well, because we're on strike, so we can't, zero in any closer than that. I said, okay, sure, fine, let's do this. So, luckily, because my wife was home, I didn't have to get up really early, but I still got up around, 9:15, 9:20, so that I could kind of sit with her for this whole thing. And then, of course, she had something that came up, so now she had to leave. So now it's basically me, there for a while. So around 2:30, actually around 2 o'clock, we get a call saying that the guys are coming to install the refrigerator. And I had 15 minutes to clear it out, which is fine. So I cleared out the refrigerator, and they showed up 20 minutes. That's okay. Where I live, you can get a little confusing if you're not used to the area. So they come in, and they start doing what they have to do. Take my refrigerator. They had to take off the door. They had to take my refrigerator out, get the other one in. Suckers are heavy. I mean, if you have to lift it, they're heavy. So they're doing all their stuff. My wife comes home while they're doing that. She reminds me we need to tip them because I hadn't even thought about it. So that's good looking out for her. So they basically were there maybe 30 minutes and they're gone. So now we're waiting for the Verizon person. And we're waiting. And now it hits 4 o'clock. Haven't heard a thing. Hits 4:30. Haven't heard a thing. 10 minutes to 5, I say to my wife, you know what? It's time I call, find out what's going on. So I call Verizon. And I get someone eventually, and I said, yes, I had a service call for today to come and take a look at this box in the garage that's beeping. They need to do something about it. So after she asked me a couple of stupid questions, in my opinion, stupid questions, she looks at her record and she says, oh, well, according to the records, they called you yesterday and you said that you didn't want them to come. I said, no, they didn't. She said, well, the records say that they called you. I said, well, they didn't call me. I can look at my phone right here and tell you that nobody called from Verizon yesterday. And why would they call the day before when they were supposed to call within an hour or so before they showed up here? Why would they call on a Tuesday to find out anything about Wednesday? That wouldn't even make any sense. So she says, oh, well, let me go check the records. So she goes, and she's gone about 10 minutes. And she comes back and says, well, we can't really find anything. I said, what do you mean you can't find anything? You saw that I called on Monday and that I had an appointment? Says, well, yes, but we still show that you canceled. I said, but obviously I didn't cancel. There's no record of you guys or anyone calling me last night on this phone. Nobody called. I certainly didn't cancel. I've been here all day long from 9 to 4. Nothing. She says, oh, well, can we reschedule? I'm thinking, what? Again? So I said, no, we will wait till another time. Because like I said, one, I didn't have the 4-hour window without my wife, who has now left town again, to try to give another 7 hours to someone who didn't come the first time. No. And I didn't know that the strike finally ended this past weekend, but I sat there and I said, wow, how did they have such a major customer service breakdown? I mean, sure, I've dealt with some customer service breakdowns with Verizon over this year. I mean, it's just been amazing. I mean, the calendar year. Not the calendar year, like the full 12 months or at this point 13 months. But can you imagine that they're going to tell me that they called me and that I canceled, which totally violates their policy? And, well, it's a lie. It's an outright lie. They probably called the wrong number, but that's an outright lie. Which, by the way, ties into an issue that I had last year when I was trying to get Verizon Files in, where it turned out they had been requesting the wrong number, and they just kept messing it up. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it ties into two things that I talk about often, that I write about often. The first one is customer service. I mean, this was a horrible customer service experience. Truthfully, on Monday, one of the issues I had is that the person I was speaking to, the English wasn't all that good. I don't know whether I was sent out of the country or not, but I kept having trouble understanding what this person was saying. And obviously, this person kept having trouble understanding what I was saying because each of us kept asking the other person to repeat what they were saying. I've got an issue with that. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't really have a major problem with sending things out of the country like that. Not a major problem with it. But there needs to be something where you verify that the person speaks the language well enough to be understood. And it didn't happen in this case. And obviously they messed up on me because no one came on Wednesday. Also, this other lady telling me, well, this shows that they called you. Well, I asked her, what number did they call? Well, they didn't register it. Well, I only have one phone number with Verizon. So if they didn't log that they called that number, and they certainly didn't call it, you guys can check your own records. Heck, you're Verizon. You're the phone company. You can look through your records and find out that no one called at that time. I just found that kind of incredible. And so to me, that was a major breakdown of customer service, whether it was Tuesday when nothing happened as far as I'm concerned, but it did with them. Monday in trying to arrange this thing in the first place, and then here on Wednesday. And, you know, and I always love, is there anything else we can help you with? You didn't help me with this. And two, leadership. You know what? I wrote this in an article on my blog that the major failings of customer service is always leadership's fault. Now, I know that they were under a strike. I really understand that. Driving around town, there's a lot of Verizon places that had people out striking. So I get that. But that's not the customer's problem. And if you have not verified all your systems so that your people aren't giving out the wrong information, your process and everything, that's a leadership fault. Trust me, I understand this, because when I was an everyday leader and manager, I was a director. Okay, I was a director. And my people talked to customers all the time, or patients, because we were in a hospital. And I would kind of, every once in a while, go out and listen to see what they may be telling people. And I would talk to the supervisors and say, okay, are you verifying the information that they're telling people is correct? Are you verifying that? And we actually had, processes. I mean, I was kind of big on coming up with procedure manuals so they could answer things. And if there was something they didn't know, they were supposed to tell the patient, we will find out and get back to you, instead of giving them invalid information. I was very big on that. I'm not going to say that I know that in every instance it happened, because people are people, but overall I felt very comfortable with the process. But these people, they just fell down. They didn't get any of it right, and it was irksome. And lucky for them, for once, I did not get that automated call hours later to find out what I thought about their customer service, because they must have known they blew that one. They just blew it. I'm sorry, And what's funny is that last year when I was having problems with them, they also then didn't do anything. But you know when I got it? When I called just before my wife came home and upgraded the TV service so that my wife could get the Oprah network, because I didn't have that level. That day they sent me something so I could rate them, and I gave them positives because, that was pretty simple. So, and this is me. I'm not necessarily doing this to kind of rant against Verizon. It's just that they're the ones who caused the issue. And I'm ranting against bad customer service. I'm ranting against bad leadership. And I think that this is just another way of my highlighting sometimes just how tough it is to be a leader, how there are leaders who just aren't getting it right. And I'm not even going to necessarily blame the manager of the department or supervisor, because I'm sure that those aren't the folks who hired these other people who may not have known the language all that well. And it sounds like there was some kind of system glitch somewhere in there, but someone should have known something. And this is just a major failing. So it's kind of a rant. It's kind of a thing about leadership. It's definitely about customer service. But I'd like to know what you guys think. So leave me your comments. Let me know what you think. And that's all I got. So I'm Mitch Mitchell. I will talk to y'all next time.